guys, welcome to Surf and Show. I'm Noel Salas, and today's surfboard review is on the Wing Twin by Akila Aipa. Now I've got two custom boards. They're both 5.5, but there are some differences that we need to point out before we get started. This board came first, and it has no center box, so it's purely a twin fin. Akila Aipa shaped this board. He came down to visit from Hawaii. We did some surfing together, and we studied the footage. And what we noticed about this board, it's 19 1/8 wide by 2 3/8 thick. When the waves had a little bit of texture and they were overhead, the board's so fast that I felt like it was sitting up on top of the water and we wanted a little bit more control. So he said, hey, let me shape you another one. So he went home and he started working on this one. This one's also 5.5, but it's 19 wide by 2 1/4 thick, and he added a center box so I could run it as a twin plus trailer. Both boards surf completely different. You'll see that throughout the video, and Akila's gonna break down the Wing Twin design. So sit back, get your favorite drink, and enjoy the show. Akila, all the way from Hawaii. We've had you on the show before. Thanks for joining us again. And I'm looking forward to talking surfboards and breaking this board down with you, bro.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure.
Always, always. So tell me a little bit about this board from your perspective, design, features, that kind of stuff.
Well, this Wing Twin, we've been at it a while now, 12, 14 years. It's originally off of a Dane Kealoha template that my dad gave to me, I think in the early 80s, late 70s. I'm not sure. I gotta research when it's from, but every twin I've ever made is off of that template. And for me, this is a pretty easy design for me to understand. I'm not sure for anyone else, but my dad had a design called a Sting, where the wing was roughly 19 to 21 inches up.
Okay.
And that was a single fin. So when it went to twin fin, the design evolved really fast. That pivot point moved back with the fins, and that's where MR moved the wing back as well. So for me, it's pretty easy to understand this design because it's half as far up as my dad's was, and it's half as deep. My dad's wing was 1 inch deep, my wing was 1/2 inch deep.
Okay.
So it's just less exaggerated. It's a less exaggerated of a wing, but it's still performing the same purpose. It's surface space elimination behind the pivot point, which is the wing.
Right.
And it equates to pivot and release.
Right.
In a sense. Or that's what it was doing back then, when the boards were much more wider and much straighter.
Right. So on the width of this board and it being a twin fin, when you talk about where the water breaks off the rail,
yes,
we have something to pivot off of. We're reducing, you talked about reducing the surface area, so pulling that tail in a little bit, giving us more performance feel.
And we're trying to modernize a retro design through those elements. Once again, through the rockers, the concaves, and surface space elimination. What we're trying to gain out of it is pivot. Swallow in here, that swallow would have almost carried that rail line a little further back if you draw swallow in there. So when you eliminate that surface area, what we gained out of it once again was pivot. And this is all through trying to obtain a feel. You know, I don't design just through aesthetics alone. I design through what we want to feel in the water. If it felt like it could use a little more up there, that's what we're chasing. That's what pushes the design. So what's the ideal wave size for a board like this? To be honest, we haven't found a limitation. But for a 5.5, it could be anywhere from knee to waist high to overhead.
Okay.
That's the cool thing about this design. Once you get comfortable with it, there's almost no limit to it because it's got elements of a performance shortboard, which allows it to that freedom.
Sure. Now, are you riding this most of the time? What are you riding on a regular basis?
I ride a version of this and the Fish, and for me, it's the happy medium because in anything under 6 foot, it's just fun designs that allows me to execute what I want in my mind and gives me the freedom to treat the ocean as a skate park. To me, these are skateboards with loose trucks.
Right.
And they're borderline sensationally out of control. So what we do to stabilize them is usually either trailers or running bigger fins for that stability, but I design it borderline out of control for that sensation.
So Akila, we're talking about speed, that kind of stuff. So we kind of need to talk a little bit about concaves. Can you tell me just generally what you're running on concave here?
It's all pretty subtle. I mean, what makes speed is a low rocker. It's fairly flat.
Right.
There's not a lot of rocker in the nose or the tail, so it's a flat bottom. And what we have here is a slight V to build into a single concave, build into a double concave with a V burning off the tail and that double concave. So my bottom's pretty subtle, but what makes the speed is it's a fairly low rocker. The tail rocker is fairly low, your entry rocker is pretty low, and there's some nose kick here. It's all blended to look aesthetic, but there's some stuff going on there.
Sure. So as we finish up talking about this board, Akila, I wanted to tell you a little bit about what happened when the boards came in. So I unwrapped the board and I put it under my arm, and I'm thinking, oh, this kind of feels and looks like a high performance shortboard. I'm holding it under my arm. I'm like, man, that feels good. And when I look at it, I can see the nose kick, and I feel like from a side profile like this, I'm looking at a high performance shortboard, right? Because of the foil and how nice and pulled in the nose is. And then when I look at the tail from like the wing back, it looks like a high performance shortboard that I've ridden like my whole life.
Well, there are high performance shortboard elements to this design. And it's blending this design, allowing us to pivot.
Right.
So when we can eliminate some of the width up here because it's tracking, and some of the width back there because it's too engaging for too long, that equates to pivot. So
right.
It's fun trimming the fat and getting rid of foam where you don't need it. And my rail's a little lower than most. In Hawaii, we have power, so we want our rails to knife when you put it on edge. And we're lucky that I try and hide the foam under your center chest. What I eliminate here in the rail, I try and still put it back here, so it's not an elimination of volume. The volume's still there. It's just put in a different area because I don't think you need it in your rail when you sit your rail. And that's just my personal thoughts.
And when we're talking about rail, it's a tapered rail. It's not a pinched rail. So it's kind of like that look right there. And it's not like a super dome deck.
I want the rail to engage in the water when you put it on rail. A lot of times if you make a round rail and it's so forgiving, it rolls on that rail and it doesn't really engage. And that's just, once again, that's from Hawaii. We have a lot of speed and power.
Right.
And that's not always the case in the East and West Coast. So sometimes you need to do a little more tuck and a little more forgiving here to get it to roll on it. So it's just knowing design and knowing design elements and where and what you're building boards for, and hopefully adding those elements for the boards and where they're going.
Right. Now I want to talk about the fins I chose. Out of respect for Akila Aipa, I started with his twin fin set right in this board. And if you look at it, it kind of has a similar shape to what you'd see out of most twin fins, but it didn't have enough hold for me without a +1 trailer on this particular design. It felt loose, out of control, and real skatey, like it was going to slide out on me. So then I put in the EN fin. Now what I want to do is I want to measure these fins up so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Now this isn't something we do very often, but I think it'll help give you a visual. Look at the difference in fin size on the EN compared to Akila's fin. There's a bigger base, so I'm going to get more drive off the bottom turn. There's more fin area, and there's more rake. So I'm going to get more traction and hold from the EN compared to Akila's fin. But even the EN was feeling a bit skatey. Felt better front side, but backside I still didn't have the control I'm looking for, so I switched to the Almeric keel. So let's just measure these up, and you're going to see substantial differences in these two fins compared to what we just saw with the EN versus Akila's fin. Look, even more rake. Look at the fin base. There's even more drive in this fin, and look at how much more fin area. This fin has excellent hold compared to the EN, and I had great traction. Now, for me, when I talk about the rake and the fin, we always talk about drawing out your turns more. I'm not really looking to draw out my turns. I'm looking to use this rake to give me control. And the fin depth with the base gives me more drive. So this setup on this particular board right here as a twin fin felt excellent. I had good traction both front side and back side, and I kind of stopped the sliding unless I wanted to. Now, as I transitioned to the new board when it came in, I ran the Akila Aipa twin plus the TT1 trailer. Put in the trailer in this board, actually changed it completely from running it just as a twin fin. Still had a lot of speed, but I had way more control, and I could pivot off this center fin. It kind of just offers some resistance, so I can push harder. And what I noticed about this particular board, and even in overhead surf, is I had great control, and now I'm starting to feel like I can push this board like I push a high performance surfboard in general.
Keep us guessing all the time.
So let's look at some waves together. Easy paddle in, quick get up and go speed. I see a nice little section. The board's projecting really well down the line. Hit this first turn, nice little spray, but it's really about the 2-turn combo on this. Right off the bottom, right into a top turn again. Watch this backside top turn. It's drifting right into a bottom turn. No hesitation, so the board's got great flow and it carries excellent speed. Nice first turn. Look at the board. Every time I put it on rail, it squirts with speed. Waves starting to stand up. Nice turn right there. Solid. Right into a bottom turn. Right into another turn. Getting the tail free. This little left. Super fun first turn. Second turn, kind of like a speed snap. Finishing it with a little bit of flair. Now guys, you always want to compare boards. There's nothing in twin fin or twin plus trailer that compares to the Wing Twin by Akila Aipa. And for me, there's very obvious reasons. The outline in the front from center, it's not wide. It looks like a high performance shortboard that's foiled like a high performance shortboard, and it feels like a high performance shortboard with the twin plus trailer, and even the twin fin with the right set will blow your mind. Now, I recommend this board for intermediate all the way to pro level surfers for maximum fun. If you're a thruster guy and you don't ride a lot of twin fins, order it with that center box, right? That'll give you that stability. Then you can take the center fin out and enjoy it as a twin fin. Look, this board's epic. It's a favorite for 2019, and I think everybody should consider it for their quiver. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed today's review on the Wing Twin. Special shout out thanks to Akila Aipa for sending these boards down for review. And if you'd like to order one, check out Akila's website. Look, if you like the show, subscribe. You can also find us at surfandshow.com. Until next time, we'll see you in the water. Bye-bye.